Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. We've got an exciting one today. It is the latest update. I am one day late. I'm incredibly angry at Unknown Worlds for this because they decided to pick a day where I wasn't in the country to release the update. I thought it was going to be next week. I thought I'd have a bit more time. I actually had a pre-recorded video for today that I'm now just taking off. I'm going to figure out what to do with it later. Maybe just upload it as a Patreon only thing just for the sake of it. But today is patch note day. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to read through the article and then we're going to pop over to Discord and read through the changelog as well and look at all the different changes coming to Moonbreaker. I'm so excited for this. Having played the experimental server, there's so much to look at, and honestly, hopefully you guys just have as much fun with this as I know that I'm going to. So first up, we've got Rising the Ranks. The latest update to Moonbreaker Early Access has landed with tons of new features to explore on your continuing adventure. Test your mettle against rival crew with ranked matches, shake up your rosters by adding one of many new Yaoeti units, and discover more ways to win and play. The most important thing about this is also to remember to like, comment, subscribe, and join us over on Patreon. But let's move into this here. So I did scroll down earlier, but I haven't actually looked at these. Let's see what we've got. See, I've already recognised some of these from the experimental server.
How many moons are there orbiting the light? Do you know? There are hundreds.
Hundreds.
Between them is the reaches.
This is from Extilior's story, isn't it?
All of them. Everyone has a cinder. And some people can even use them for powers so incredible. They seem like magic.
This makes me excited for the lore again. I just want to go back and listen to the audio dramas. The maps look great.
Time. You're the boss one.
This is a really good little trailer. I'm sorry I'm not talking much. I'm just really enjoying this. I do enjoy the painting aspect. I do need to get a bit more painting done. It's been a long time since I've done too much. There we go. So are we going to see any new units here? Yeah, there we go. Every decision counts. I love tossing flurry. That's a really nice aria. Paint job as well. I like that these aren't all just the default paint jobs as well. I think it looks like some of them are a little bit the size of that T-book.
Go beyond the cadet's menu and into the reaches.
Okay, that is actually a really cool little trailer. And for anyone who didn't know, okay, we can stop this now. For anyone who didn't know as well, I believe starting from today, in fact just shortly before this video comes out, there's actually a short free version of Moonbreaker, free to play section of Moonbreaker for a while. So I think it's for 1 week or 5 days, something like that. You'll be able to play Moonbreaker completely for free and just try it out and see if you want to join us for this amazing community. So the Yaoeti have arrived. Let's have a look. So we've got here, I think I've seen all of these as Charger Makoa. Obviously we've got some other units here just to get this across. We've got, oh my god, so this was the Motivator Atzi. This was the electrified one where you just like do a little swing around. I haven't used that yet. This was the sludge guy that makes the sludge towers. Yeah, this is so cool. Okay, in the last Moonbreaker update, players got their first taste of Yaoeti with Captain Zuna and Gardener Zhou. Now several new crew have arrived to shore up your rosters. Rebuilder Texo, oh yeah, Texo is the little healer that buffs you maximum health. Nuisance, Motivator Atzi, Reti Ranglamar, Charger Makoa, Zapper and Enki, Captivator Zyanya, Cloakatozi, and Salvager Zaka. With so much choice, battles against your rivals will get their biggest shake-up yet. Yeah, Yaoeti had a farm. Along with all the incredible Yaoeti crew arriving in the Reaches, a new map is also entering the rotation. That's awesome. I think I've played a version of this when it was like still didn't have the textures and things involved, and I remember enjoying it quite a lot. It reminds me a lot of the open Cholek one that's not the mines. I'm rubbish at map names, I will admit. As having played hundreds of hours of this game, don't know the map names. Travel to the Yaoeti farm map, a lush and colourful farm set with unique architecture, dynamic plants, and interesting new challenges to overcome on your path to victory. I can't remember what it was, but I swear there was new terrain type or something in there. Here we go. Here's an update I've wanted for so long. For glory and bragging rights. Think you have what it takes to become the best Moonbreaker player in all the reaches? Take on the challenge of rank mode and battle against the best of the best as you climb your way to the top. So here we have a brand new ranked mode. I'm going to be definitely doing a series of videos where I try and climb as well as as high as I can. I'm not the best player in the world. I'm really not. I've won a community tournament when it was fairly low entry, and I have got a lot of time into the game, but there are far better players than me, especially when it comes to building lists. For competitive play, I have a lot more of like the fun list, the janky list, so I'm going to be trying this. Each match will contribute to your rank, and you'll need to keep facing off against challenges to improve it over time. Okay. Pretty as a picture. Moonbreaker has never looked so good, with several visual improvements making it to the latest update. I love some of these. Unit outlines have been added to make it easier to see your crew around cover. Volumetric fog has been introduced for more visual depth. Of course, that's a phrase I knew I needed, volumetric fog. And line of sight has been improved to make it easier to see when and where your crew can attack. These gameplay readability improvements, including improvements to contrast between maps and units, should make your entire Moonbreaker experience much smoother. We'll see you in the reaches from the Moonbreaker team. So one of the things I know that they believe they've upped the intensity of colours in the crew, and they've slightly dulled the maps, so there's just a bit more of a pop for your crew in there, make it easier to identify. Honestly, there's so much to see. And the next part of this is going to be going through this changelog, so there's a huge amount of information. This is sort of the quick rundown, but let's have a look at the nitty gritty, and I'll see you once we've got back onto the Discord. Okay, we are here with the in-depth patch notes. Let's have a look what we've got. So we've got the date, the little summary here, and we've got the rank mode, new map, the unit outlines. So these are all the things we've generally covered in the article previously. So now we're going to look at all of the little details that we've got here. So, new units. Rebuild a Texo. 3 leadership, 7 health, small melee unit, 1 cinder ability to reinforce structure, which basically heals for 2 to a damaged crew, and if that crew is fully restored, increases its health by 3 permanently. Really good way of actually making use of healers in the early game. So like you get Stitching McPatchy that can't really do much in the early game. You just you hit for 1 and that's it. Occasionally you can heal. Texo can actually help buff units for the long game as well, which is really nice. Nuisance. 2 leadership, 7 health, small range unit, is airborne when it hits and deals damage, so we need to remember that, it's quite important. Target gains electrified for a turn, so it's going to be a pretty big deal. It's going to basically, electrified, what it does is whenever you do an action, or I think it's both that unit and the ones it's touching all take 1 damage, so it's actually really inconvenient. Funny enough, I've just used that phrase. It probably is a nuisance, so lives up to its name. Quite a fun mechanic, electrified. I think we might see more ways of utilising that in the future. Motivator at sea, 3 leadership, 8 health, small melee unit, 2 cinder ability to dig ground, which creates a cinder pile. So this is, they can possibly explode, and they can also just be used for cinder generation. If I remember rightly, I think Atzi also has knockback on its hit, so I think that would be what we're looking at there. Reti Wrangler Ma, 8 leadership, 6 health large unit, 4 cinder ability to laser, deal 2 damage to all units in a line. Each unit takes plus 3 damage for each Reti it has, so there's another ability just here. 2 cinder ability, give 3 Retis from Reti Wrangler Ma to units in an area. So you give them all the Retis and then you laser them, blow them up. I think the Retis are like those little plant pod things, so it's going to be throw things, blow them up, make big boom, kill enemy units. Really cool. Charger Makoa, 2 leadership, 8 health, small unit, 1 cinder ability, channel sun. Next turn, all units in an area and line of sight take 4 damage and get disarmed for a turn. So really powerful effect in terms of both amount of damage and the disarm effect, but you need a lot of setup to make it work. So this will be good with something like a snareling, a jailbreak, any way of blocking something into place. Zapper and Enki, 9 leadership, 14 health, large unit, 3 cinder ability, Mace Vortex. Pull units in range towards Zapper and Enki and deal 6 damage to them. So that is a huge amount of damage, but this is a hugely expensive unit. Expensive units will see more play now, I'm fairly confident, because of the new resources, but we'll come to that in a moment. Captivator Zyania, a 7 leadership, 12 health large unit, has a 3 cinder ability of capture. Give captive to target units in area and line of sight. So basically, it just sends like a bunch of lashes and just like ties people up. And I believe that while they're tied up at the end of turn, they take a certain amount of damage. I think it's 2, but it might have changed since coming to the live version. I believe it also immobilizes them as well, so that's a really cool unit. Cloak Atozi, 6 leadership, 7 health, small unit, has cloak. Allies in range have has its ability is cloak. Allies in range have cloak. Cloak Atozi can never have cloak. So what cloak is it basically means you can't be targeted outside of a certain area. Funnily enough, one of the latest additions to Warhammer 40,000 is Lone Operative, and it's essentially that sort of thing. So unless you're within a certain area, you can't attack that unit. Salvage Azaka, 8 leadership, 10 health melee unit, has salvage crew. When an allied crew in range will be destroyed, send it to the bridge and restore 3 health to it instead. Has 2 cinder ability, electric charge, give crew charge and electrified for the turn. So charge is now different. It previously existed in a way that it was like haste in Magic the Gathering, or charge in Hearthstone, so it allowed you to fully act straight away. Now it is going to be the same, except for basically it's the same as that now, whereas previously you couldn't do anything when you deployed. Now you can actually use abilities and attack once you've deployed, so this just allows you to move as well. So it's a little combination of the two. It's really interesting mechanic, I like it. Sludge Sprayer Inayan, a 3 leadership, 7 health, large melee unit, has 2 cinder ability, spray gun to create a sludge pile. I love this. Like, creating terrain is so much fun. I cannot wait to get playing more games with it. The couple games I played on the experimental server were fantastic. I just want to make walls everywhere and really inconvenience people and use it to play the objective really well. That's absolutely my jam. Glitter, a 5 leadership, 8 health small unit, has 2 cinder ability of Serenade. Whenever target unit takes damage, also heal nearby units that amount for a turn. The interesting thing here, it has no attack, so it's only used for healing. I don't think I'll be using this very often, but it's a cool idea, and I'm sure there's some ways to really make use out of it. So, mechanics. Leadership now starts at 2, so you don't start at 1, you start at 2. Both players now follow the same leadership curve, gaining +1 leadership each turn, which is good. Player 2 starts with 1 additional leadership. So essentially the positional advantage for going first is counteracted by 1 additional resource advantage for player going second, and because it sort of carries over between turns, essentially this is just the same as the coin in Hearthstone, because it's 1 extra resource that you use when you need it. It's a really good mechanic, it works well, it's got historic precedent in other games. I'm really happy with that. It's kind of the same as to what it is now in Moonbreaker, but starting a turn later. Well, starting on 2 leadership rather than 1. Also, I think a lot of crews have increased in cost, especially the cheapest ones, so you're no longer going to have like multiple 1-drop spams. They're probably very rare if experimental is the same way as live is. Deployment, you can now deploy around your captains and your crew, which is great. So your deployment is no longer just around your captain, you can do it around crew as well. Crews are no longer stunned when they're deployed, they are instead dazed. Crews can now attack and use abilities when deployed. Dazed crews are immobilized unless they have charge. So dazed is just a sort of, essentially if you think about it like Deep Strike from 40k, the turn you come in, ooh, I just smacked my microphone there. Apologies if there was any loud noise there. The turn you come in, you can still shoot and you can still do things in place, but you can't make a normal move. Essentially, that's what it is. If you get charged, you can. You cannot deploy around dazed crews. This is a really key part of this. I was really concerned about this when I first heard it. Really glad as soon as I found out it wasn't the case, because otherwise you just play 3 or 4 cheap crews in a row and just like daisy chain them across the battlefield to the point that you can just be getting wherever you need to. Rival units now block deployment zones, preventing players from deploying behind their opponent. Very interesting. I'll have to see how this sort of works in practice, but I do like the idea that there's no just free, oh, I've got the answer here. Victory points. This is one of my favourite things so far. So it's a tug of war system. You win by gaining 5 victory points more than your opponent. You gain 1 victory point each time an opponent's crew dies, and control points are now sticky, which is a term from 40k again. So you take control of an objective and you leave it, it still stays under your control, and you again score those at the beginning of the turn. So between those and killing opposing crew is how you win. You can also just kill the enemy captain, that still wins as well. Sudden death triggers on turn 10. For each turn that passes, players require 1 less victory point to win. If players are still tied 5 turns later, the game ends in a draw. I didn't know about this change. I heard there was some sort of timer end game condition coming. I think this is a great change. There was the one famous game in the community with Bricky when he was first streaming, ended up in like a 90-minute stalemate when both players was like, well, I want to see how far this goes, and it just was a never-ending Extilior trying to catch an Astra and out healing the Astra's damage, and it was nonsensical. So this is a really nice change to that, and I think also just keeping the pace of the game up is really important for Moonbreaker, because it doesn't want to be a 45-minute tabletop game. It wants to be you can drop in, play a game, leave again. Great change. Accuracy calculations, this is another really nice change as well. Accuracy is now calculated from base edges instead of the center of the base. That means that units always have 100% accuracy when touching, so no more using like your smokes and things to make a melee unit miss. So if a melee unit is literally stood like face to face with someone, there's like someone right here, you're no longer just like punching to one side, you can hit in melee. It does mean also you can still hit in base contact when ranged as well, but it does mean you're going to have to think very differently about how to use things like Zuna's Mahan field and like the smoke and things like that. It's going to be different. I played a game against Grissy with that. Didn't go very well for me when I didn't realise that change had come. Really looking forward to it though. Balance changes in captains. Astra's health's gone from 25 to 30. Her attack's gone from 2 back down to 1. Her passive, when she destroys a crew, refresh her move, is now when she destroys a crew or Cinder Sphere, refresh her move. Interesting. So I wonder if this now means that just sitting next to a Cinder Sphere means you can jump again. Just touching it, because that would be really cool. Make her like a hyper mobile, low damage, high utility captain. I love it. Change ability grow Cinder. Every turn, increase Cinder in Cinder Sphere by 1 up to 3. Next turn, Cinder Sphere will give 3 Cinder when the captain of the crew touches it, starting at 0 Cinder. Okay. So you can no longer place it and gain... Hang on. Next turn, Cinder Sphere will give 3 Cinder when the captain of the crew touches it. Oh, so it gives 3 Cinder now. Okay. Cinder Sphere now gives 0 Cinder when deployed and grow to 3 at the start of the owner's turn. Yeah. Okay, so it's just like it no longer grows. It's just a one-time gain 3 Cinder for 1, which is great. Really, pretty reasonable, but it's going to be one of those things that it really tools Astra into making Cinder-heavy lists, which I quite like. She needs a niche now. Why not? Into the Breach. From refresh attack, movement, and abilities of the next turn to refresh movement and abilities of the next allied crew if they touch this turn. So it no longer refreshes attack, which I think is a perfectly good change, but with having the additional Cinder growth anyway, this puts Astra in a real position to be sort of double activating things like Axial Pyro in the early turns, and having that additional Cinder generation and the ability to refresh abilities specifically, it puts Astra in a sort of a box that's appropriate for her. We need captains to have specific roles, and this is a really nice one for Astra to have because it allows you to build a list around it, whereas I think before Astra was just do everything and do it well. So really glad to see that change. Extilior, nice easy change. So it looks like all the captains' health has gone up to 30. Increased health from 25 to 30, reduced attack from 3 to 2. Again, seems reasonable. Like, I don't really have much to say on that. I'm guessing Extilior seems powerful if other things have changed around it, and maybe this works out. I thought Extilior was pretty reasonable at 3. Maybe it's a problem in experimental, especially with things acting quicker. It could just be too much of a clock. So, especially having the extra movement speed, allowing people to deploy further when you can attack immediately, maybe Extilior needed this nerf. Zax increased health from 21 to 30. Mine health from 3 to 4, which it's a really interesting threshold for, because it means that a lot of things that you could deal 3 damage can no longer just kill it. And that sounds really obvious, but there were a few things that were good at dealing with it, and I think that's going to be a much more difficult thing to do. Gravity Disc range reduced. I think that's fine. Gravity Disc... Oh, so its range and radius were reduced. I mean, Gravity Disc is so powerful that that's fine by me. Absolutely fine. Like, I'm still going to love Zax. I think utility is where it needs to be. Gardener Joe, health increased. Thornvine health going up. Again, really interesting, so a lot of stuff is 2 attack, so it means you're more likely to get those Thornvines through. Greater Thornvine increased attack, increased attack range. That's quite a significant upgrade as well. That's really nice. Reduce the bramble damage. Okay. Change the passive on the Grape of Thornvine. At the end of the turn, attack the nearest enemy unit in range. If there isn't one, move towards the enemy. To now, at the end of turn, move towards the nearest enemy, then attack the nearest enemy in range. I like that a lot. It means that you might even have a chance of triggering both the bramble damage and the attack in one turn. That's great. And then fertilized soil. At the start of your turn. Oh, okay, so it now just acts immediately. So give all units +2 sweet per turn. I like this change a lot. The number of times you'll probably have seen in my videos where I just put this down for fertilize and then just forgot about it or moved units out of it. Much better to have it as a active that turn. I think Zhou looks like it was a real series of buffs there. That could be very interesting. So Zuna, Dada Restore goes from 3 to 4, so extra healing. What does Mahan do? Mahan. Why can I never get Mahan first time? Okay, so instead of creating obscuring area, to create an obscuring area, all units in the area have -50% accuracy. So that means this does still work against melee. That's nice. Total count attack's gone from 3 to 2, but health from 8 to 10. Okay. It's now gone from crew lose 3 speed to units lose 3 speed. That's a big change. In Extilior, losing 3 speed is so impactful. So Zuna really coming out on top in terms of like utility captain again. So it looks so far we've got Astra as the ability captain, Extilior is probably quite an aggressive captain, Zax is sort of a zone control captain, Zhou is sort of like the almost swarm style with them being a little bit more aggressive, and Zuna is like control. So you obviously be able to build outside of those, but I love it. Absolutely love it. I like the idea of more firm gameplay identities for the characters. Okay, so next up, balance changes for the crew. This I'm going to just run through quickly. Defense Dome, health from 7 to 8. Sentinel, health from 14 to 9, reduced flechette range from 7 to 5. I'm guessing Sentinel seemed good without summoning sickness. Amplifier Baitol, cost gone up, health gone up. Antios Gauntlet, increased leadership from 1 to 5. 5? I mean, I suppose hitting for 5 out of nowhere is really quite good. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Arya's gone from 3 to 4. I can't get my head over this, that the balance change for a character is to increase the cost by 400%. Amazing. Like, that's such a fun... Like, the fact that the devs are even willing to make that big of a change just shows how dedicated they are to constant adjustment. I love that. Arya cost gone up. Axial Pyro, leadership cost gone up, health's gone up, flame range down, burn triggers at the start of the owner's turn. Okay, so it's just now a 1 turn delay on the burn. I actually think that's a significant nerf because you now no longer have that guaranteed extra damage, but it also makes sense. You should be able to like heal the burn before taking the damage. Beatrice has gone from 2 to cost to 4, but health has gone down. Seems the reduced lethality, maybe, because that's really tough again. Esli has gone up in cost, health's gone down. So instead of +3 attack and +3 speed, to gain charge and +2 speed when no cinder. I mean, that is a significant damage reduction from Esli there, like massive. I would be surprised if you see that much Esli anymore, but like the charge is really useful. And I think it fits with the character design. Like, Esli seems like, it's supposed to be ambushing people. It's just very, very different. I like it, though. I think I like it. Like, a lot less powerful, but very interesting. And although there isn't that much charge, so having some charge is really powerful. Again, that movement speed is really important to get the damage in when you need it. Broken Leadership has gone from... Broken Vengeance, sorry. Leadership 3 to 2, but attack from 3 to 2 as well. I like this. It seems fine. Chuck and Co. Cost gone up. Health's gone down, Toss Cinder's gone down to 1 again. I like this. I didn't like Chuck's ability at 2, it didn't feel impactful enough. Crankbait, cost gone up, health's gone down, the range for the grappling has gone down, and gains charge. I like that. Crankbait being the positioning tool is really nice. Did the attack go down? Still 2 attack. I thought that would be going down for 1. I suppose 4 cost, yeah. Crash, cost has gone up, reduced attack, increase the cost of the ability, but Increased Wreck-It damage taken from 1 to 2. Also takes 2 damage every time you use it. So all in all, Crash needed a bit of an adjustment, because I suppose, again, placing something down and just dealing... What would it previously have been for if it was attack 4? So just 9 damage out of nowhere. Yeah, it's pretty solid. Crosshair, cost up to 6, health from 7 to 8, attack from 3 to 2. So her perfect aim bonus has changed from crits, because crit being gone from the game was probably a good thing now that there are enough other ways to interact with it. I'm fine with that. And then going to +4 attack, which is awesome. Deadeye cost from 1 to 2, was not really any 1-drops anymore. Release Ozo's Cinder cost from 2 to 1, back to where it was before, but reduce the efficiency. I like that. Deadeye's still going to be great. Typo. Detonia, increased leadership from 2 to 3, health from 7 to 6. Cost of their ability is down to 1. That's amazing. I love this with her. Like, 3 cost is a lot, but the ability to have consistent damage at very little resource cost is brilliant. Feel Bad has gone up in cost, down in health. The abilities have gone to 2 and 3, so that's really expensive, but obviously pairs very well with other things. This will be great with like an Astra, because you can just use all the additional Cinder that you get there. Oh, excuse me. And just get loads and loads of damage out, especially on AoE abilities, things like that. It will hit like a truck. Talali, cost from 2 to 5. Again, that burst damage out of nowhere is probably really impactful. Attack reduction, I think that's fine. I don't know why she ever needed to be 3 attack. And health increase. Fate Twister's Tanton, cost back down to 1 again, which is nice. Range has gone up to 8. Okay, I really like that. That's makes it a much more of an effective defensive tool, which is great. Fix has gone from 1 to 3. Call Favor has gone from 2 to 1. Oh, so we haven't got the bounty anymore, so it's just infused. I couldn't tell whether we were going to get the bounty or not. I really like the gain bounty ability, but fair enough. Fixer is just pretty mediocre now. I don't think I'll be running Fixer very often, but again, could be really useful for those like ability base lists now that we can do that. Florio is even slower. The Bombard radius is even smaller, but gains ambush, so it's sort of like you drop in a mortar team and then you can use it wherever you want. I love that. I think it's cool. Again, it's expensive to use, I think, but the ambush feels right on Florio, because it means you don't, if you're playing like up in the enemy's face, you don't necessarily want to then have to deploy an orbital bombardment unit right next to you. You want it to be in the back line. So it's interesting having an ambush unit that's going to be used defense, like to make it a more defensive position rather than offensive. Flurry cost's gone up and health's gone down. Flurry's probably pretty strong here, that seems reasonable. Furia cost has gone down, health has gone down, power up has gone up by loads. So I think they really need to incentivize not attacking, which makes a lot of sense, so good choice on there. Hit and run gone up on attack. Ooh, okay. Hit and run's gone up to 5 attack, lost ambush but gained charge. I mean, I've really loved Hit and run's ambush side of things, but charge does seem to fit. Like, it seems like the right choice for Hit and run. So looking forward to trying this out. Jailbreak costs gone back up. It was 4 at one point a while ago, went down to 2, back up again. Reduced attacks, interesting. I'm not sure if I like this given like how the game is going to be more interactive anyway. Jailbreak already suffered from sometimes just dying, and now he's always going to die. So I don't think we're going to see much Jailbreak. Maximus has gone up to 3 cost but has charge. It's interesting, some say charge, some say charge. Typo. Reduce health from 7 to 6, it's fine. Maximus health doesn't really matter. If you're killing him, you're killing him. Mequani Thicket, health down to 12, speed down, cost of the pull gone down, which I really like, and changed poison. At the end of turn, set the health of any crew attacked and damaged by it to 1. Ooh, okay. I get it. It's probably right. Doesn't feel good, but it's probably right. Okay. Nekahul has gone up in cost. I imagine, again, powerful, pulling units out of anywhere you need to. Bulwark, cost's gone up, health's gone down, speed's gone down, and gains charge. So you can reposition straight away, which is nice. Noxie's cost gone up, and gains +2 attack whenever a Toxoid dies. I'm okay with this. Pacifier Oatley's health's gone up, attack's gone down. I like Oatley anyway, but it's going to be much less effective now, so that seems reasonable given there's a lot of nerfs around it. Peacemaker Balam's cost gone up. Yep. Rickety Backfire, increased leadership from 3 to 4. health from 7 to 4, attack from 5 to 4. So Rickety is just a one-shot tool now. Like, if you don't protect Rickety, you only ever get the one explosion, because you've got 4 attack and 4 health, and you can explode with a 75% chance. That's even less effective as before. Can you imagine what this was like before, when this was a 2 cost and you could have essentially take like twice as many hits? Ridiculous. Savria, reduced health, reduced shield barrier cost. I like that. I think she should have been reduced cost anyway. It's not an overly impactful ability because there's a lot of things that play around it, and the enemy has control over all of their damage, so I like that. Shrapnel just got more expensive. My poor Shrapnel. Snarling, reduced leadership 3 to 2. I like that. Health from 8 to 7. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Snarling is always utility anyway. Stitchy's cost gone up. Reduced health. Cost has gone from 2 to 1, which is nice. And the healing's increased. So the game has got more lethal, more rapid. So healing needs to be better. I like this. This seems like a good adjustment. Switchback is more expensive. And reduced the speed reduction to 1 turn. So Switchback used to be the finisher of choice. Now it is not. It might be again. That's a nice one. Taria Arsenal. Again, these extra damage effects are getting made more expensive with good reason. The game is going to be so much faster paced. Increase leadership from 3 to 5. Reduce the cost from 3 to 2. Tipu's health went down by 4. That's a 33% reduction. Toner got more health. Reduced Cinder generation. Ability change, praise the Cinder. If your captain is range... So at the start of turn, if captain's range, restore 1 health for each of your Cinder generation. Okay, so it takes an extra turn to kick in now. It would have been, under the current new rules, effective immediately, whereas now it takes an extra turn, but you heal immediately. You don't have to not spend it. So again, this could be really good in that like Astra ability-based list. You just get a ton of Cinder generation, and then like with sort of use for sort of abilities, you generate Cinder, you heal for it, and then you can still use loads as well. Taurian Guardian went down in cost, health down, attack down. Taurian, so instead of 50%, nearest ally in range and in line of sight is 60% harder. This is something I think is a really nice change. Taurian protects the other person, doesn't protect themselves anymore. So Taurian is no longer the 2 of us are a front wall that you can't beat. You know, if you put Taurian next to an armoured unit and you stick a Stitchy behind it, it's not like you're ever going to just get through that in any reasonable time. Taurian can now be damaged, hence the reduced cost. Great change. Really, really like that. As Taurian's one of my favourite units, I still think this is a great change for the balance of the game, or for the health of the, how much fun you can have. Toxoid, passive, removed the healing at the end of turn and changed poison. Seems reasonable. In comparison to the fact that Toxoid is now 3 and is going to be able to hit something straight away, yes, you don't want it to be immediate. Turncoat, increased leadership from 4 to 6, increased health from 7 to 8. Yep, instant activation Turncoat has to be more expensive. Neck Divine's range went up, which is nice. Scattervine, reduced leadership cost back to 2, health to 5, and growth range from 3 to 2. Again, I like it. I'd still think... Oh, sorry. I've just realised I need to move this window up slightly. There we go. Otherwise you can't see this. I do think Scattervine should still have a rule that allows it to exceed the unit cap somehow, but perfectly fine. And then Whispers, feel the music, Cinder cost reduced from 2 to 1. That seems perfectly good. I mean, Whispers doesn't do anything, it just stops other things. So given that it might not even always be effective, that shouldn't be a 2 cost ability, it should be 1. So I think that's great. All in all, there's so many things to try out, so many fun changes. We've got a new map which I can't wait to get stuck in on. I'm going to be going straight into ranked pretty much. I'm probably going to make my next video after this just making some ranked content and trying to figure out how to climb even in that respect. But all in all, it's a new age of Moonbreaker. I'm really, really keen. It's like a whole new game, and with anyone who's one of the newer players coming in from the free-to-play sessions coming up in the next few days, feel free to send them my way if you've got any questions. I would happily answer them. I'll happily make content about things that you need help with the game. Just give me a shout. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us over on Patreon, all of those things that I say every single video, because that's how YouTube gets those numbers that we need. And most importantly, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.